question, this question is very important for the exams. Sarojini Naidu as the Nightingale of India, or Sarojini Naidu as the poetess, or write down the poetic qualities of Sarojini Naidu. So let us have a look all the important headings or detailed how this kind of questions can be answered. Or Sarojini, or the poetic qualities of Sarojini Naidu, why she has been called as the Nightingale of India, or how can you say that Sarojini Naidu was the poetess, one of the poetess. So Sarojini Naidu, she is a great poetess of Indian writing in English literature. Sarojini Naidu, she was an Indian, but she preferred to write in English language. So that is why that she is supposed to be a great poetess of Indian writing in English literature. And Sarojini Naidu, she is also regarded, she is also called as the Nightingale of India. For what? Why she has been called the Nightingale of India? Why this title has been given to her? Because this question is very important, and many times this question is also asked in competitive exams as a very short question, in objective types of question, that why Sarojini Naidu had been given this title Nightingale of India. So because of her lyrical quality, right, because of her lyricism, or because of her melody, or because of her lyrical qualities which we always find in her poetry. Her poetry, besides its lyrical wealth, her poetry, what they are, the very first thing, no doubt that they have a lyrical richness, they are very melodious, they are very sweet. In spite of that, besides it, the poetry of Sarojini Naidu are very pure. They carry the theme of India, that is, they are purely Indian in theme, in character, or in style. Each and everything of her poetry reflect India. The palanquin bearers, that is the very famous poem of Sarojini Naidu. The Bengal sellers, the Indian weavers, all these poems are very famous of Sarojini Naidu, and they present very well the Indian theme. So the themes of Sarojini Naidu's poems are Indian, thoughts are Indian, melody is also of India. So Sarojini Naidu, no doubt that she borrows the language of another country. The language is second language, not her mother tongue, but theme, thoughts, and even the melody, style, everything is Indian of Sarojini Naidu. So it is only the language that is of England, but Indian customs, traditions, festivals and celebrations, even men and women, myths, legends, markets, bazaars, fairs, feasts, fauna, flora, landscape, skycape all are Indians, and they are presented very beautifully, very in a simple way in the poetry of Sarojini Naidu. So in brief, we can say that the poetry of Sarojini Naidu is or are a mirror of India. Her poems reflect only India. So they are a mirror of India, because we find a reflection of India, or we can see through her poetry only Indianness. Religious theme of Sarojini Naidu, another poetic qualities of Sarojini Naidu. Religious theme, Sarojini Naidu is a great devotee of Lord Krishna. We can say that perhaps she was also influenced by Rabindranath Tagore, as he was also a great devotee of Lord Krishna. So just like that, many of her beautiful poems, her beautiful lyrics are devoted to only Radha and Krishna. So the main theme, especially main theme of Sarojini Naidu's poetry is religious or devoted to God and especially to Radha and Lord Krishna. In her lyric, the name, the song of Radha, the milkmaid. Okay, who was Radha? Radha was the milkmaid, and what she writes, what she says in that lyric, in that song of Radha, but my heart. So now in this kind of question you can quote the lines of any lyric, any poem of Sarojini Naidu which you prefer the most. And here are the example of this song, the song of Radha, the milkmaid. And Sarojini Naidu, what she writes, but my heart was so full of your beauty, beloved, they loved as I cried without knowing, Govinda, 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 Govinda. So only within these three lines you can find here a lot of melody, sweetness, simplicity, and the theme, the thought, even the characters, they all are belong to India. So this is the style of Sarojini Naidu, that she is a very natural poetess, very spontaneous poetess, and there is no pre-planning to compose it. Sarojini Naidu, she becomes the English Mirabai when she sings Mirabai, my heart be your tent and your pillow of rest and a place of repose for your feet. So we all are aware of Radha and Meera. They both were beloved, or they both were just made for Lord Krishna. So here these lines are also showing the poetic quality of Sarojini Naidu. Another characteristic of her poetry is romanticism. Sarojini Naidu, she represents very well Indian Elizabeth, Robert Browning, John Keats or John Donne in respect of love lyrics. Sarojini Naidu, whenever she composes love lyrics, we find a reflection of John Donne, John Keats, Robert Browning, that is Elizabeth. The poetess is the supreme poet of love. Love is her major theme, and about 1/3 of the total output of her poetry is about love. So most of the poems of Sarojini Naidu are based on this theme. The major theme of her poem is love. And when she writes about Radha Krishna, Meera and Krishna, so there is also a concept behind those poems, only love, that is spiritual love or platonic love and pure love. Sarojini Naidu, she deals with both the aspects of love, union and separation, because love faces both, love has both. Just like the love of Radha and Krishna, they also both suffered and they also had the same experience of first union and later separation. So these two qualities of love, union and separation, so it in its various moods, because when someone falls in love, he will go through definitely, when someone falls in love, definitely he will go through all the different kinds of mood of despair, mood of frustration, sorrow, hope, expectation, ecstasy, challenge. All these are the various variety in the mood of lover and beloved. And all these kinds of different moods are presented very well by Sarojini Naidu in her all kinds of love lyrics. She not only powerfully depicts various moods, but she also presents the states of love, that is states of love, union and separation. and she also embodies various love situations, separation, jealousy is also a main part of love, suspicion, and love is seen in her poems in both aspect, in violent and in delicate. Okay, love is seen in both violent and delicate aspects. Here we find an example. My passion shall burn as the flame of salvation. The flower of my love shall become the ripe fruit of devotion. Another great quality of her poetic talent is her lyrical genius. Sarojini Naidu, she has the wealth or she has the richness of lyrics, and she is called the singing bird. Singing bird, that is the Nightingale of India. Her themes are girlish. To some to some extent, her themes are womanish or girlish, and her lyricism is of the first order. Her mastery over verse forms enabled her achieve flawless lyrics. She can be compared with P.B. Shelley, John Keats, and P.B. Shelley. He was also supposed to be one of the best lyric writer or lyric poet. Like Shelley, like Keats, she has all the essential qualities of lyricism. Her poetic diction depends more on the melodic phrase than on verbal adhesion, and for this she clearly follows the Sanskrit example of synthesis or samasa. Her similes, Sarojini Naidu, she uses a lot of figure of speech and mainly her similes and metaphors. She uses most of these kinds of figure of speech, simile and metaphor in her lyrics, and they are always drawn from the common scenes and sights of nature. They are very vivid and they are very graphic. Similes and metaphors are very vivid and graphic in her lyrics. Images like that of the moon being a cast mark on the azure brow of heaven are highly original and fresh and startle in the manner of Shelley, as in palanquin bearers. There are so many simile in this lyric palanquin bearers, and in her famous lyric Indian weavers, she has skillfully woven the theme of life and death. The method of Sarojini Naidu of questionnaire is also most charming, and these lines are of Indian weaver. Just have the poetic talent, her lyricity in these lines. Weavers weaving at break of day. The main theme of this poem is life and death. Weavers weaving at break of day. Why do you weave a garment so gay? Blue as the wing of a helicon wild, we weave the robes of a new-born child. So, theme of life is here mentioned. Synthesis of Hindu-Muslim culture, because Sarojini Naidu, she was an Indian and she was also aware of different cultures, different caste, and there is also a synthesis of Hindu-Muslim culture. She is a woman of international culture and she does not believe in narrow caste and creed philosophy. Sarojini Naidu, she was very fascinated or very overwhelmed by Indian diversity in religion and in culture. Most of her poems are colored with the spirits of Indian two epics, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, and the Puranic myths and legends of Radha and Krishna. So, this is why that we find Indian theme, culture, religion in her poems. She describes Hindu festivals, marriage rituals, temples, images of gods and goddesses in her poems. but she was also deeply interested in other religions too. If she mentions Radha Krishna, so this doesn't mean that she was interested only in Hindu religion, but Sarojini Naidu took interest in the religions of other people also, because she was a woman of international culture, and her feelings are also united with Buddhism and Islamic beliefs. Her childhood passed in Hyderabad, which had a way of life, art and culture, and evolved both by Hindus and Muslims through centuries. Therefore, her native town represented, that was Hyderabad, the synthesis which she maintained very well in her poetry. So, you can conclude your answer with this, that Sarojini Naidu, she represents India in her poetry. That's true, because most of her poems are based on Indian theme, Indian tradition, Indian festivals, Indian culture, Indian characters, if not Indian language. She is a great philosopher, and her poem Indian Weavers is the great example of her philosophical thoughts, as the main theme of this poem was life and death. That proves that she was a great philosopher. In her short lyric Indian Weavers, she deals with the life and death circle, the three stages of life, that is birth, marriage and death. All these are the main stages of life, and she portrays these circle very well in this poem Indian Weavers. Death have been these, the three stages of life, birth, marriage and death, have been very nicely written only with the help of symbol, and for that she takes the help of an Indian weaver. The daybreak is the birth of a child, the charming night stands for the marriage, while the cold moonlight is the symbol of death. So the weavers weave gay cloth for a newborn child, multicolored cloth for the bride, but white cloth for the funeral shroud of a dead man. And you can give the example of this lyric Indian weaver. The weavers reply to the poetess, indicating the three stages, just like this: blue, blue as the wing of a helicon wild, we weave the robes of a newborn child. Like the plums of a peacock, purple and green, we weave the marriage veils of a queen. White as a feather and white as a cloud, we weave a dead man's funeral shroud. So here we find this life and death circle, three stages of life: birth, marriage and death.